morning. Today I want to talk a little bit about consistency in language learning and the importance of continuing to use a language in order to be able to speak it well. It's not necessarily that we forget the languages we learn, but if that but rather that if we don't use it consistently, we may not have the skills may not come as fluently. Um, it may become rusty, and while we understand and the words are there, it may feel very unnatural. Feeling unnatural makes us feel uncomfortable and want to resort to the path of least resistance. I bring this up today because of a few experiences I had speaking Italian this week. I was in Italy for 6 to 8 weeks, about 10 years ago now, maybe 9 years, I believe. And at that point, I'd say my Italian was the third strongest language that I spoke after my French and Spanish, and I was using it all the time. And even at that point in time, I remember when I came back to the United States and I started using Spanish, I actually struggled at first because Italian would always come to mind instead of Spanish, so I had a little bit of interference there. Um, in the past years, I continue to listen to some Italian. I enjoy Italian, but I haven't really used it that much. I've focused on other things. But I met a shop owner, and we were chatting a little bit, and so I asked where she was from. She said from Italy. I asked if we could speak some Italian. We spoke a bit of Italian. And it was for about 1 to 2 minutes, and that went fine. A short, brief conversation, focused. I can focus in for that period of time. And that didn't serve any problems, so that was very motivating. I was very happy. Yesterday, though, I met an Italian woman. She was originally from Trieste. She had been in the United States for years and years and years, and she loved speaking Italian. So I spoke some Italian to her, and she absolutely loved it. And we continued a long conversation, over 10 minutes. Um, Long, but longer, a full conversation, not just pleasantries. And so, but I would say after about 8 to 9 minutes, somewhere in there, I started having real fatigue and more difficulty speaking. At first, I did great the first 4 or 5 minutes, but for some reason I started feeling uncomfortable, either doubting myself or having more trouble with words the longer I was speaking Italian. And it was almost tiring, like doing an exercise that I haven't done in a long time. To continue that for a long period of time, I really struggled to continue. Um, she was great, and the fact that she enjoyed speaking, she said that she hasn't had the opportunity in so long. Even I was the one who tried to switch to English after getting tired, and she stuck it to Italian, so that we continue. And then I switched back to Italian, even though I was fumbling a little bit as time went on. And so I find that's natural. If you're not continually using those linguistic muscles, they're going to get a little bit weak, and especially over long periods of time, um, you'll find yourself feeling more uncomfortable and struggling more. I do, at least, in any language that I haven't used in a while. The key is to stick to it, to use it with more consistency, and it comes back faster. So that's the good thing. So I know if I were to go to Italy, I may feel fatigued and even have a headache after the first day or two from constantly trying to use this language that I haven't used in so long. But after day 2, day 3, things fall into place a little bit better, and at least by a week. Ways to avoid that for me when I'm traveling, reading, watching movies, and trying to speak and set things up at least ahead of time before I go, so that the whole immersion when I am actually thrown into a situation like that isn't quite so um, traumatic. Yeah, that's over dramatic. It's never traumatic. It's still fun. It's still great. I still love the opportunity to have, but can be tiring and difficult if I haven't used a language in a while. Allora, adesso volevo parlare un po' in italiano, soltanto per avere l'esperienza e um, per voi di ascoltare come adesso parlo l'italiano, e voi potete notare che il mio italiano adesso non è così buono come è stato prima. Sì, voi mi conoscete anni fa. Ma io posso comunicare, io posso avere una conversazione abbastanza larga senza problemi. La gente mi capisce e questo è il più importante, che mi capisce e se ho bisogno di parlare tutto il giorno in italiano, credo che posso farlo, ma adesso non è confortabile, non mi sento bene parlando italiano perché um, ho perso l'abilità di parlare, um, di esprimermi bene. Ecco, i- se lo uso per più di tempo, uh, ho più di difficoltà di esprimermi, come voi potete marcare adesso, che non sono così fluente come prima. Ho bisogno pensarci più di quello che voglio dire. E questo non mi piace, chiaro, mi piace le lingue e vorrebbe essere come un esperto delle lingue che vorrebbe parlare flu- fluentemente tutte le lingue che parlo e non voglio perdere le lingue che ho imparato nello passato, ma ho molto interesse. Voglio imparare altre lingue, studio il cinese e il giapponese, non posso sempre avere un livello così alto tutte le lingue. E questo è normale, uh, questo è normale per tutti, se non si usa le lingue si perde un po'. Ma questo è tutto che volevo dire oggi. Grazie per ascoltarmi e alla prossima volta.